Hey guys, welcome back to Theta Talks. This is Faya, and today I wanted to talk about why everyone should stop reading self-help books and switch to classical literature instead. And I want to preface by saying that some self-help books are very helpful, of course, but they sell an ideal of perfection that I don't think is realistic because we're humans and we're flawed beings. So if we're constantly striving towards this projected ideal, we'll never be able to appreciate how far we've come and how genuine the process of just growing and evolving is. So that's my qualm. Thank you for listening. Anyways, the first book I would recommend if you want to switch from self-help books to literature is The Alchemist. And yeah, this is a classic. I think it's a bestseller almost everywhere in the world, and it's a bestseller for a reason. It talks about a man who goes on a journey searching for a treasure, and he realizes and learns a lot on the way about letting go, about falling in love, about human beings, and just the journey in itself. And I don't want to spoil it, but it has a very good spiritual perspective as well, and it will kind of force you to think outside of the box as to where you want to go with your life and what really matters to you. And I think the idea of a purpose is a very common human challenge that we all struggle to finalize or pursue, and The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho is perfect for that. Second book I'll recommend is The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli for more science type folks, and that's because it's by a physicist named Carlo Rovelli, and it talks about how our understanding of time has evolved and how what's the proper way to describe this book? Kind of how human beings exist within this idea of time, and I think it's really interesting. It changed my life personally. It was my favorite book of 2025, and I recommend it to everyone. Some people haven't liked it because it's too sciencey, and then some people have really liked it. So if you like science and the idea of physics and time, go for that one. Third book I recommend is The Autobiography of Malcolm X. I have read this book probably 30 times in my life, and every time I read it, I learn something new. I think it kills a lot of shoots down a lot of the stereotypes about Muslims, about slavery in the USA, racism in the USA. And I think it's really important because over time, I think people are starting slowly to forget about the history and what people have went through in America. And I think history is one of the best ways to understand how cyclical human nature is and how we constantly repeat these cycles that ultimately I won't get too much into the specifics for the sake of not being too biased here, but it's a very, very beautiful story, and I think Malcolm X he's definitely one of the most iconic people who have lived in the recent times, and I really look up to him. Fourth book I recommend is The Basic Political Writings by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Do not ask me to pronounce his name correctly. I'm trying my best. This book is essentially a discourse on inequality in political science, inequality in the systems, and it's very interesting because it was written almost 3 centuries ago, and a lot of the things that Rousseau speaks about are still very prevalent and relatable to our day and age. And I think it's very useful, and it's more complex in the way that he talks about everything, but he's a beautiful writer. And this is a translated version. I think the original version was in French or something. I don't know. I don't want to I'll correct myself if I figure that out, but amazing book. Fifth book I'd recommend is The Principles of Uncertainty by Maira Kalman. And The reason I recommend this book is because it's not a typical novel. It's more pictures with descriptions. I think that in our day and age where our attention spans are depleting, pictures are very captivating and they tell a big story, and it might be easier for you to stay focused on the little stories if you have pictures and captivating ideas around them, especially if you're someone who's transitioning from watching movies all the time to reading books. I think people make fun of like comic books or picture books, but I think they are one of the most genius and beautiful book concepts in the world. I think something I love about the Principles of Uncertainty is that the author really dives into like different characters and their quirks and the way that just like the way that they are, and I think definitely something I would recommend. Sixth, I think, how many books do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, sixth book I'd recommend instead of a self-help book is anything Rumi related. Rumi is a poet, a Persian poet from, when was Rumi born? He was alive a very long time ago, and I think he speaks about love and God and spirituality in such a beautiful, abstract, and eloquent way that anyone would benefit from reading anything about him. My favorite book is A Mirrored Life, and it's a novel written by Rabisankar, and he talks about the story of Rumi's life. They dive into their friendships and, oh no, it's been 7 minutes. They dive into their friendships and other beautiful things, and they kind of destroy a lot of the stereotypes that we have nowadays about how traditional friendships should work. I like that they allow this room for depth in friendships that people normally only associate with romantic relationships. So it's definitely something that is a bit out of the box or out of the ordinary, but changed my life. And then the final book I'd recommend is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. This is one of my favorite books of all time, probably my favorite book of all time, because Marcus Aurelius, it's kind of, if you're not a religious person and you need something that is sort of like a religious text or sort of gives you inspiration or a rule book or guidelines as to how to go about your day-to-day life, this book is the book for you. It's a mix between self-help, spirituality, and like just logical, stoic, descriptive like outlines and procedures that I think really woke me up. I think they're beautiful. It's so logical, and it just kind of forces you to wake up and be honest with yourself, with the people around you, and pursue what's right, not for anything else but the sake of what's right. And it's been way too long now, and I've been talking again forever. So I'm going to end that here. Thank you guys, and I'll probably be back next week with another idea as to what to talk about, because I am trying to become a better public speaker. I'm trying to convey my thoughts in a more orderly and purposeful way, and so that's what brings me here. Anyways, have a great day or night from wherever you're watching this, and thank you again.